So I see.
It's Monday, and not only any Monday, but the last one of the month. And it's time to raise the vibration and share the positive once again. Every Monday at noon Eastern, I invite you to join me here on YouTube live as I share this time with you and a vibrational guest. And of course, if you are here for the first time, shown up, etc., go to the feed below. And this is what I'm going to ask here. In the feed at the side, there, the little things, is for you to choose which affirmation deck you want the card pulled from today. So there's the I Am Sacred, which is the green one, or the I Am Vibrational, which is the orange one. And the first person who pops up on the chat, you get to choose. So I will leave that with you for the moment. It's your claim to fame because your name will be mentioned. I love it. While I'm waiting to see which affirmation deck I'm going to be shuffling today, I want to share a quickie insight to my reading this week, Awaken and Rise. It's full of valuable insights from Spirit, as always. So after watching today, go and listen to it. And of course, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, click the button below. Boing! So you won't miss any of my recorded transmissions, which I post daily. So let me light the candle first of all and see if somebody has made a choice. And if they haven't, then guess what? I will make it for us. Okay, there's my, oh, everything's all blowy. I'm not seeing anybody coming in there. So the candle is lit. I'm putting her up here to be part of us. And I will think I'm going to shuffle. Chris, which deck do you think? The orange or the green one?
Orange, please.
Orange. Okay, let me shuffle, see what our card, our affirmation, our focus for today is. Whoop, and there it is. It flipped right over. Card number 20, I am always connected to the vibration of my higher self. How perfect is that? Because of the conversation we're going to have today with my guest here. So, excuse me, clearing throat. Last day of August today, and I have returning guest Chris Lee joining me as we raise the vibration and share the positive and have a conversation how we ruin our life, fear, guilt, and jealousy. But before we begin, let me share a lot more about my guest today, Chris Lee. He is a hypnotherapist and a past life regressionist. He has authored 4 books in a series called Life in the Past Lane. This is book 1. Book 2. Let me just really quickly put this up here. Book 3, which is Aches and Pains, and book 4, which is Crimes Against Humanity. That's his latest book that is out there. Okay. I'm sure Chris is going to share a little more before we finish today, how and where you can buy them. And also Chris teaches past life regression and has students all around the world that is practicing his unique system. So Chris, briefly share how you got started in this therapy.
Well, Debbie, about 25 years ago, an ad popped up about taking hypnotherapy. And I felt that was about time to try that because I have been in fields where I help people, even in sales, but also as a policeman for many years. But that just popped up. And as you know, things pop up for a reason.
Yeah,
not
synchronicity.
by accident. Yes. So I took the training. Now, hypnotherapy, there's lots of schools that teach that, but almost none, actually none that I know of other than mine, teach past life therapy, regression. So basically, clinical hypnotherapy is dealing with current life issues and you know what you did in the past, earlier in your life, and how you hated your parents or whatever. And I found after taking the training, I wasn't sure about past lives, but what I do is that I've always wondered there seemed to be something else in life than just buying your way to heaven like my parents were doing.
Yeah.
So when we were at the school, they did ask if anybody, there was 24 of us, anybody wanted to see a demonstration of past life. It wasn't on the agenda, of course. So 24 hands went up. And who wants to volunteer? 24 hands came down, not because they wanted to any fear of it. It's just that a lot of people believe that when you go into hypnosis, you disappear and don't remember anything,
Correct. Yes, people do.
which is totally false. Totally
And
false.
of course, I've been very blessed. I've had several past life regressions with you, and it's
That's
really
great.
helped me overcome a lot of things. So, um, you've been doing this for over 25 years, you say now,
Yep.
helping people stop ruining their lives. And I love the title of today's conversation, How We Ruin Our Life, Fear, Guilt, and Jealousy. So which one do you want to start with today?
I think guilt, because that's the most
Yeah.
popular one that we seem to do. I have to explain a little bit about how my system works, so then you'll see why guilt is in there a lot. Because see, the human mind is made up, as you're well aware, two parts: conscious and subconscious. Okay, everybody agrees on that one. The
Mm,
conscious is actually just a processor. It's never been to a past life, hasn't got a clue about them,
mm,
and that's only about 5% of your mind. The other 95 is the subconscious. It is actually just a storage unit. It is so powerful. If you had one past life or 100 past lives, it's all in there. Every single
yeah.
second
All
is
the
very
memory.
amazing. Very amazing. Now, what I found that the whole thing about this is to do with lessons not finished. Okay, I mentioned we're
Mm,
here to learn lessons. When we come into the human form, we have actually a soul group that we do confer with before we come in to decide, who's the bad guy, who's the good guy, and who's just going to be there for a moment. Will that be fries with that order, sir, or whatever.
mhm.
So when we come into the human form, we 100% do not recall what the lesson is. The reason for that is because if we had the script in our hand, what would you learn? We
Right.
have to use free will. And we're very good at that. If people do ask me in a session, what's my life lesson? I say, good luck with that,
Mm,
because they will not show it to you.
yeah.
But they do let you, I do suggest that you use intuition. Like women have a great thing called women's intuition, and they usually listen to it. They're smart. Men, we don't have women's intuition. Of course, we have gut feeling,
Mm,
and that doesn't make sense. Let's do it. Let's use some logic, and that is why men screw it up quite well.
yeah. Yeah.
In fact, quick item here: an article I read some time ago. All the world's richest men have become rich by gut feeling, no logic
Right.
whatsoever.
Yeah. 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 So
Now, the whole sorry.
sorry, I was going to say, so explain how this emotion, how we ruin our life, what this emotion actually does or how it interacts with us.
Okay. Well, here's how this works: is that when we have actually, I do cover aches, pains, fears, phobias, and debilitating
Yeah, you
emotion.
did in the last show, which was really good. You
Yeah.
gave a lot of insights on that.
So let me explain how that connects. You see, when I take people, or when people come in with a list of odds and sods, including emotions, what it is that I don't see any of it. I'm not a reader, have no idea. What I do is that I have you bring in a list of stuff you'd like to work on, and I just simply slow you down, because hypnosis is not disappearing. There's
Hmm.
no, I cannot hypnotize anybody. You hypnotize yourself. I just help you. All hypnosis is self hypnosis. So I slow you down. Then I just simply say, let your subconscious take you back. Now, if you're not sure about past life, some aren't, I just say to the cause. If you're sure, I say the past life. That's the cause of that particular concern. When you go to that concern, instantly your subconscious will show it to you. And the way my system works is that when you see it, we're an animal likes to see to believe, we let it go.
Mm,
Now, what happens is that we our body cells bring in the aches and pains and the fears, phobias, and the emotions. It has actually been proven that the body cells our body cell memory, people with organ transplants are picking up the traits of the people
mm.
with that organ.
Yeah, you
So if
shared
they
that was.
happen to have fears and phobias or that emotions,
Hmm.
they're picking that up too.
Hmm.
Now, what happened is that I discovered from doing this, and I'm always learning. In fact, some of my graduates even pass on tips, because I've seen over 20,000 past lives, and it's always amazing. I never know where they're
Mm,
going to go. So what happened is that pardon me, is that when we go into the human form, we have to learn lessons.
mhm,
And if somebody asks me why, I have a good answer. I go, I don't know, but
mhm.
it's happened for 20,000 of them. So there must be something there.
Yeah.
So when we come in, only a small part, Debbie, of our energy goes into the body because we're quite strong. So think of it like putting a computer into a robot.
Mm.
Now, when we die, we don't die. We actually just the body, we get rid of it, it's gone. And our energy is generally goes home. Now, I call the soul group home because I do take my clients to their soul group, they all
Mm.
agree it's home. Feel safe, feel like you belong. Apparently, as we learn our lessons, that feeling gets stronger and stronger in the soul
Mm.
group. And we get to the point where we don't have to come back. Now, the disadvantage of some of this is that we still have free will. When we die, our energy generally, one of our soul group will come to help us leave because dying is just confusing, disorienting, but we don't have to. Okay, we can stay, and if we do stay, we're getting close to now answering your question. Okay, is because of very strong emotions, things
Mm.
like anger. I'm going to kill the person that killed me,
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
or got a family to still help, and that's kind of silly because it's hard to get a job when you're dead. Or confusion. Some people actually don't go, am I really dead? Or I still got things to do. Or there's so many emotions. Now,
Mm.
here's how we are affected from these emotions is because they are part of your energy. You're part of the
All
same
right. Yeah.
energy. So you do feel what they feel. The only
Mm.
thing is you don't have a clue where it comes from because almost nobody knows about this because they end up going to therapists that go on for months and months and months, and they're using current life
Mm.
questions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying, Debbie, that everything is past life. I worked out it's only about 99% past life. Okay. So if you're not dealing with past life, that is why people go to therapists and it doesn't move. In
Yeah.
fact, in one of my books, I've got the a lady. She came in. One of the things she listed was anger, and I said, how has it been affecting you? He says, I can't stand it. Life's been good to me, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel angry all the time. I said, have you done anything about it? And she says, well, I've been going to a therapist for about 4 years.
Yeah.
I said, has anything changed? She says, yes, the less money in my bank account. Okay. So I said, let's check this out. So sure enough, the subconscious, which is very powerful, found that one of her stuck lives had to do with anger. And what I do is then I have that person take that part of you home. Because the interesting thing is when the soul group member comes to suggest you leave, we don't always listen to other people. But when you go, or when I have you go and see that one, we generally listen to ourselves. Why? Don't know.
Right.
Seems to work. So when she was taking her home, she said, "This is nice." In fact, she started sitting up straighter. She said, "This is nice. I love this. This is what anger is gone feels like." And I spent 4 years not attaining it. Thank
Mm.
you. So that is how this works.
Yeah.
Guilt is one of the biggest ones. We
Right.
drag
Yeah.
in our aches and pains for the lessons not finished, but the biggest emotion on this planet Earth, now I'm not sure if people know about this or not, some do, we have had lives on other planets. Think of the logic. There's billions of planets. But
Mm-hmm.
apparently Earth is one of the hardest ones to learn on, so we do
Mm.
have to come here. I've had a lot of
Full of
clients
emotions.
yeah, clients say, I don't want to go to Earth, but
No, please.
too bad,
I'll
so
be good.
sad.
I'll be good.
So what happened though is what makes this planet denser is we do drag emotions with us. The
Yeah.
number one emotion that we drag with us from life to life is guilt.
Right. And I think
It-
women, especially, because we
mhm,
feel guilty about everything.
yeah,
Oh, I'm a
and for no
mum, or
reason.
I'm a daughter, or I'm a wife, or I got to do this. And we put ourselves so far down the line. I'm sorry, gentlemen, I'm not having a go that the women are the soul self-flagellators. But when it comes to guilt, it is one that we do
Mhm,
carry with us for everything. Oh, I didn't grab the milk today, or I didn't do that. And I know it sounds very peripheral and silly, but yeah, I can see how very easily that can get caught up, and that emotion can block us or stop us.
mhm. And what it is that I had found at times the guilt came from something in that life. For example, a boy being beaten by his parents, uh,
Mm,
and was trying always to be nice,
mm.
and and they were telling him it was his fault. There's one of the guilts.
Oh,
He
yes,
comes
yeah.
in, and when you don't finish the lesson, which is
Mm,
what most of them we don't, we bring it with us. So his guilt. Now, what I have found is that when I have you go back to that life, is to say to him out loud, it wasn't your fault.
yeah. Tina B
Now
says
you really,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah. Well, Tina,
just
yes.
came up there and
Hi,
said that
Tina.
too.
And what it is that I asked them how did they react. Now, basically, you're talking to yourself because that's part of your energy, and
Mm,
most of the time it's like, "Wow, relief," or "Are you sure?"
yeah.
Then sometimes I say, "Have it twice," and tell them, "No, twice. It's not your fault." You had something
So
there.
you think by similar to when I do mantras and things like that, the more we hear it being
Yes.
said from ourselves, the easier it is to let it go and accept it. Because it's like everything else. I always say to people, when we're told what to do, you're
Mhm.
like, yeah, I don't want to do it. But when we do it ourselves, we say it ourselves, it seems to resonate more. Excuse me.
The big thing is to say it out loud. I have
Mm.
learned, don't just think it, say it out loud. It's a big change, big difference. For some reason, don't know why, but it sinks in better. But then I've also added through the years of doing this, I realized that some of the guilt, sometimes it wasn't their fault. It was just part of their
Oh.
lesson. So what I do find that helps drop the guilt is by having my client say to that one, I will finish your lesson for you.
Mm, mm.
Wow. When I first did that one, that was a few years ago. I can learn all the
Wow.
time. It's
So
just
we
like
can do that?
you can say to the person, yes, when I take you back, just tell
Wow.
them, listen, I will finish because that's the main part of the guilt. Not just
Mm,
that they, were told you're not worthy or something, but
mm.
that you didn't finish the lesson. You feel
Mm.
guilty about that. And being as we've got tons of lessons not finished, that's where a lot of the guilt comes from.
I'm praying I get mine all done this lifetime. I truly am.
We can work on that. Ironically, the number two emotion is doing something stupid or embarrassing. And
Yeah.
it can be strong.
Mm.
I knew a lady years ago before I started doing this. Wish I'd ever see her again. I could work on her. Is she would never eat or drink in public.
Hmm.
We thought that was odd. She says, "I don't want to, in case I spill something."
Ah, right.
She
Yeah.
had it was
Embarrassing.
too embarrassing. So
Mm,
that would have a link to something she's done in
mm,
her past life. But the biggest one is guilt. The
mm.
fear too, fear and anger, as I mentioned,
Yeah.
often like anger, the anger that you didn't finish it too. So you got guilt and anger, and
Yeah.
wish I'd finished that lesson. And also the fear of not finishing your past lives, because most of them
Mhm.
you don't, what the lesson was supposed to have been.
Just going off topic a little bit, do you
No, go
think
ahead.
that, or do you sense or feel that the fear at the moment that's building up in our world, and I don't want to
Yeah.
get into that subject matter, but there's a lot of people that are fearful of everything, whereas if we placed ourselves a year ago in some of the situations that we're so fearful today, so could that also be something that's sort of been activated from a past life that's created that fear within us?
Yes, it was like I call them a trigger, something being
Right, a
triggered.
trigger.
You got just like certain fears and phobias, just for off the subject, a pinch. Sometimes people aren't born with that particular fear. They said, "Oh, somebody scared me in the dark when I
Mm,
was older, and that's where it came from." And I say,
mm,
"Well, really, it's not hard to get rid of if you hadn't triggered something from a past life. Same with
mhm.
aches and pains too. Some people said, "Well, I got in a car accident, so I had to be current life." And I say, "Really? How long
Right.
have you had that? 20 years?" Yes, past life. So we do trigger things. So
Mm.
this thing that's going on, I don't like giving it a name because
No, me neither.
you're giving it credence by
Yeah.
admitting a name that's going on is really triggering a lot of past life
Right. Yeah.
concerns, and that can cause things like depression,
Mm.
anxiety, unworthiness, even
Mm.
suicidal, extreme mood swings.
Yeah, that's sad.
Bipolar is actually, I found two different past lives getting in each other's way. Constant worry. Some people worry continually. I find that the silliest thing, worrying about, like, like I remember hearing an in-law said, I worry about this, I worry about so and so, I worry about this. What does that do for them?
Nothing.
You're not going to go do anything for them. You just worry about it,
Yeah.
and it's not helping your health because your subconscious
Hmm.
reacts to what your conscious is doing. It has no
Again,
right or wrong.
you wonder if that's based on guilt, that they feel guilty,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
therefore it creates this sort of wordology, if you like, of saying, I'm worrying about this because they feel guilty that they can't do something, or
yeah, yeah.
they should be doing something, or
Yeah.
whatever it is that's going on.
A lot of these things intertwine, don't they? Even
Hmm.
unworthiness, panic attacks.
Oh my gosh, yes,
Yes, you've heard of those.
yes.
It's just, when I work with my clients and I cover their stuff, the odds that it comes back is basically zero. The point is you have to finish the lesson from that life. You can't get away with that. Because when we finish a life and it's not done, fit with, every life we come into, I've learned is that we do have a new lesson to learn, which we don't know what it is in the human form, but we can drag in the past lives because they don't go away. Those I can help you find in a session. What was the lesson supposed to be learned in that life? That they can show us, and that's an advantage. The reason for that is that because when you see, for example, that you haven't what it is, I can see often looks in people's faces like, "Oh God, that's something I'm supposed to be learning again," or "Have you been
Yeah.
working on it?" And then they go, "Yes." And it's funny. Some of them say, "Oh no, that person finished the life lesson." And I said, "No, they didn't, because if they did, we wouldn't be seeing this today." And
Hmm.
I'll say, "Is there room for improvement?" And usually it's yes. But
Mm.
the advantage of that is that they can now, I said, at least know what not to do. One
Right.
subconscious
Yeah.
is so powerful.
Yes.
So that one person had a lesson called patience to learn, and
Could
wasn't
be one of
anybody.
mine,
Well, this
or
one
lack of it in my case.
wasn't too. Okay, but your subconscious is a powerful computer. It answers questions. So I
Mm.
asked it a direct question, and I said, "How many past lives has this person had done to learn patience and not finished it?" And the woman said, "Oh my God, 114."
Oh my gosh.
So it's not how
That's
many
almost like a
past
slap in
lives.
the face.
So it's not how many past lives we've had, it's how efficient and effective we've been. I think she said she's going to really make sure she learns that, because
Yeah.
if we don't finish our life lessons and get rid of our emotional concerns, we have to keep coming back and
Yeah.
back and back.
And I suppose if we have one that we didn't finish, and then we have another one that we didn't finish, and another one, it's like they all, build up on this,
Yeah.
and we're carrying this huge weight around with us. So could that be a reason why some people have so many things that keep happening in their lives, or is it just that circumstantial kind of thing? So say the person that constantly having bad relationships, or
Oh,
keep losing their job, or like, is that maybe compounded things that they brought forward from other lives that they haven't cleared? And
definitely.
it's like, okay, let's just try and do it all in one go. Because I suppose if I was in spirit and here's my script here for this life, and some of the things that I've got to overcome, I might just say, oh, okay, just throw the whole lot in. Let's get it done this time. I don't want to come back and keep repeating this. So is
So
that a possibility?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. There are occasions where we come into our life with no lesson, because we have to help our soul group. It's sort of like we all work together. And if somebody, maybe you've come into a couple of lives that they didn't, and you get ahead of them, you do have to come back and help bring them up.
Right.
So that does happen. And sometimes it's more than once. So you can get frustrated about, oh, they're not listening, especially that guy. He's going with his gut feeling. No.
I love
Anyway,
this. Tina's just said, so you're saying that if we work through all our past lives, this will be my last life. And she's
if you
laughing.
learn all the lessons,
Lessons, yes,
yeah,
that's what I was just going to
yeah.
say.
Yeah, you learn your lessons. And again, when I do my talks and people ask me heavy questions about, really far deep into it, my common answer is, I don't know,
Yeah.
but I know how to make it work.
I
Is
think
that
it's
good enough
important when
for
we
you?
clear
Yeah.
something, because I know from one of the experiences that I had with you, one of the past lives, I should say, is my fear of needles.
Mhm.
There was nothing in my life that, I wasn't somebody that had to have lots of injections and, medical stuff when I was growing up or anything like that. So it wasn't based out of this lifetime as far as I could see. But when we went through that, there was this whole unraveling of a completely different story, if you like, of something that wasn't in this lifetime. But every time when in this lifetime I went to go and have blood taken or a vaccination or something related to needles, it triggered that without me even realizing it was a trigger. Like, I don't know what's causing me to be fearful of the dark, but once we realize what it is, it's like that sort of aha moment. And for me, it was an aha moment. So what would you say with that? Is that sort of when the trigger happens, because it's nothing to do with this life, sometimes, that we get that sort of aha moment when we realize it's something now, okay, I know where this has come from, so this can change it, yes? Or have I sort of gone off track completely there?
No, but let me explain how my system works. And remember, I gave it a very, very fancy name, and I also provide the spelling for it for those that aren't sure, because it's not really complicated. It's called the unknown noise. Remember? Let me just to give that example, and it'll make more sense. May I? Is that let's everybody do a word picture in your mind. The situation is you live alone. It's a dark, spooky, windy night, and the wind's howling. In the talk, almost somebody always howls. Helps. We do a bit of humor. It sinks in better. People listen when it's a bit more interesting. So what happened was during the night, there's a crash, and you jump up and go, what the is that? Notice I'm being polite there. And you hear it again. You realize it's just the wind blowing a branch against the window. So if you're like me and it's not going to break, you go back to sleep. Later that night, there's another crash, a big loud one, and you jump up and go, what the is that? And you realize it's a noise you've never heard before. And it sounds loud and scary. So we do run amok there. We start thinking, somebody coming to kill me, bad man, boogeyman, or somebody coming to rob me. So unless we check it out, we revert to our childhood. We pull up our bulletproof covers and try and get some sleep, which doesn't work because the noise is still bothering you because you don't know what it is. Morning, you're getting out of bed. Pardon me, still windy. Got to go to work. You go out the door, and again, the wind's howling. And you hear that crash, that noise again. It's off to your left. You quickly look to the left, and you realize it's just a metal garbage can. The neighbor now doesn't have bags. The dogs like them, but not the cans. And you're going to make a profound statement, Debbie. It's a garbage can, plus some adjectives about the stupid neighbor. Next night, almost done. Same windy, spooky night. Garbage cans blow over. 50-50, now you don't wake up. But if you do, same profound statement. It's those garbage cans and stupid neighbor. Now, there is a point here. The noise is the same both nights. Why does it bother the second night?
I know the answer to this.
You can give me the answer.
Because I've had
It is
because
simple.
you know what it is. You've identified it. And it's funny the way in situations when we hear a noise that we always think the worst.
Yes. Now, unless you feel the garbage cans are coming to kill you, you would let it go.
Yeah.
So being told, we are an animal that likes to see to believe. So when you have these fears and phobias and stuff, guilt, anger, all that, it's hard to let go because you don't know where it came from. And it is not, almost never, current life.
Yeah.
You bring it with you.
Where does jealousy fit into these emotions?
About the same, yeah.
Yeah. It's so in the format of jealousy, where somebody's jealous of somebody else for whatever reason, does somebody openly say that, or does it just sometimes come up? Because that's usually one, anger we may come up, guilt, fear. But when it's jealousy, none of us want to think, oh, well, I'm a bad person here because I'm jealous of whomever because they've got more than me, or they have this life or that life. So does that one come up as openly as the other
well, it's basically
emotions?
more lack of self-confidence in yourself.
Right.
Yes. And a
Okay.
lot of us have this. People come in. In fact, when I work with a client, one of the first things I can see is how confident they are. And some are just dripping with it, and some are afraid to even look up. That's in
Mm.
fact with every. I'll tell you right now, as you already know, but just for the audience, every session I work with my client, first time client, sorry, I take them to their most confident past life. I
Mm.
do
Oh
this
yeah.
for a couple of reasons. One
Yeah.
is because they don't know, first of all, how what I do and how it works, and it's curious. And the more they think about what's going to happen, the less harder it's going to
Mm-hmm.
work because the conscious starts coming back up, thinking. That's why I keep it
Mm-hmm.
slow. So with the confidence, and here's how this works. The subconscious will always find them a confident past life because you've always had two or three. Because we've also got the unconfident. But what happens is I have that client now answer the questions because I don't see any of this stuff. Remember, I'm not a reader, so I ask them questions. Then I say, move up close to them. How do they? Are they a confident person? Wow, are they confident? And I ask them a few other questions, caring stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. Then I say, now I'm going to have you absorb that confidence into their body cell memory. Remember, we have a body cell memory, but it can be a nice one. It's not very often. So, and it's very simple. Just having them take 2 breaths. Why? Don't know. Works. But after that, anytime they want more confidence, just let their mind's eye show them that scene, and it takes care of itself. But jealousy, back in like when somebody has that emotion and wants to work on it, sure enough, it'll be a stuck life that they
Okay. So
died.
explain what a stuck life is.
Oh, okay. Well, as I mentioned earlier, is when we die, we have a choice of going home. Then our little bit of energy that was running in that body to learn.
Okay.
One of our soulmates will come to help us leave. And as I mentioned, we have free will. We don't have to leave, so we stay stuck there. Yes, the emotion is strong. It stays there, so it's called stuck. Now, occasionally, sometimes, like my brother actually was stuck in a past life for about 100 years, and as a monk. He was annoyed because they had come in and killed all the monks. So his was a bit of not milder anger, but he had left. I found this out by checking with he did leave after 100 years. So it was before I saw him, but he mentioned that it's because they tore the monastery down. Okay,
Ah. So would this
so
be deemed as like a ghost?
now he said he did scare a few people.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
that is where a ghost comes from. But
My
ironic,
territory.
yes, but ironically, one of the very interesting one is actually in this book here, or which book was it? No, it was Into the Crime Soup. Is that when I
So that's
ask,
in this book here, Crimes
yeah,
Against Humanity, your
yeah,
latest book.
yeah, when I ask the client how many stuck lives. Well, actually, I go straight to the subconscious, but it's not like you have to come back and listen. You're there all the time. It's just that I
Right.
ask the subconscious very direct questions because it is very, very literal. It doesn't take, it doesn't take jokes or like if I say to you, you'll get more confidence from this. Can you handle that? The subcon likes to hear yes or no. A lot of people say, "Well, I'd like that." Well, I'll say, "No,
Mhm.
no. Let the subcon know.
So you're
Let
still putting
yes."
doubt. They're still putting doubt into it.
And
Yeah.
just confusion. So I ask and I say, let your subconscious tell you how
Mhm.
many past lives you've been stuck in and how many. So yes, sure enough, it popped up. Now, what happened is that okay, went on a tangent.
You were
This,
you were looking on Stuck Lives. You had
yeah.
said that there were we were talking ghosts,
Oh yeah,
and
go. Okay,
somebody
okay. Yeah, sorry.
about your
Trying to
brother. And
get on a tangent there, okay, because you asked me a question that throws me right off. Okay, just kidding. So, but what happened is that yes, we go to the subconscious will tell you, and it's very literal. It'll take you to it. Now that life being stuck there is, as I mentioned, is affecting you because you're part of the same energy.
right.
And that's why you can go to therapists for
Mhm.
years and years and years.
So you were going
And
to read us something from your
oh,
latest book. That was where you were going.
oh
Sorry,
yeah,
I know we went off on a tangent.
okay. What's the tangent? What was the story I was thinking of telling you?
I have no idea. I could get
Ah,
into your psyche, but that could take a little while.
okay. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, what it was is that sometimes the lessons are just why they're stuck is just confusion. That stuck feeling. That's where I was going to go in that one.
Mm.
Is that this client said, "I'm feeling stuck. I just don't know where to go, what to do. I feel stuck all
Mm.
the time." And I have actually asked that of many of my clients when they come in. Do you ever get a stuck feeling? And so many of them say yes. And sure enough, it's to do with the stuck life. So when I went to that life, in fact, she was a storekeeper that wasn't doing well and just felt like it was over and over and over. Yes, it's the same thing. I'm not going anywhere. Sure enough, what it was is in a previous life, she had been uh, a, a person owning a store and was making too much money and getting rich.
Mm.
And people in those days, because, as I said, because there's no, well, actually, because there's no CSI, people get away with it. So your subconscious, being very powerful, doesn't make you do stuff, but it says, be careful, don't get too rich. Yes, because you might get killed. So that is why I get people that say they often do self-sabotage. A
Mm.
good example, really, the heading and title of what this is actually fear of success.
Okay.
So a lot of that is from your stuck life.
Mm.
And one guy said that he was getting too powerful, too rich in the stock market, and he started making stupid decisions and losing money like crazy.
Mm.
But since he saw it in the past life, that he straightened that out. So fear of success is actually one of the main things, and that is not really like a tangible, like fear of heights or
Mm.
it's a mountain. But it's there, and easy to fix. Fear of success.
So this is where a lot of the fears and things will be in this book that
Hmm.
you had mentioned there. So I know from an experience of a life where I was killed, and that the person that killed me in that life was jealous of me. So
Hmm. Oh yeah, I
yeah,
remember that.
I felt my face was smashed in. So I
Yeah, you were a
won't go
gypsy.
into the gory
You
stuff.
were a gypsy too.
I was
You were.
somebody that was helping a witch make potions, and
Hmm.
and there was somebody else that was working there, and they basically were jealous of me because I was getting it, I was understanding it, and I
Hmm.
obviously was becoming the witch's favorite. And I shouldn't say witch, I should just say healer, the healer's favorite.
Yeah.
And we were out in the woods and she smashed my face in and killed me. But so that was over jealousy, because then she became number one. So we can do things even without I don't know if we can do it without awareness of it in this life, because I think if we're jealous of somebody, that little green-eyed monster that comes up within us,
Yeah.
we should address it. But
Actually, a little side one. You also had your face smashed in as a gypsy because you were too beautiful.
okay.
Remember that one?
Gosh, your
So
memory's good. I let
yeah.
I must say that I let most of these go, because
Well, that's
when I
yeah.
finished with them, it's like I don't need to go back there again. So unless it's a situation like this when we're bringing it up. So yeah, jealousy, fear, and
Hmm.
guilt. Are there
Hmm.
any other emotions you've mentioned? Stuck lives and fear of success.
Yeah. Well, a lot of
Um,
them mixed together, like depression and fear of success,
yeah,
anxiety, even suicidal. Like again,
yeah,
stuck,
that's
not
very
going in.
sad.
So basically, a lot of them, like a lady in Australia. I don't know if I'm ever mentioning to you, when she had a list of stuff to work on, she typed. Remember the old days? She had a typewriter, a
Mm.
real typewriter. She
I
typed
used
out.
to type on a
Yeah,
typewriter.
she had
I'm that old.
32. I used to sell them. Remember? Before in the oldest. So she had 32 items typed out. 32
Mm.
items. Now, one thing about my system is that when you go back and see these items or the aches or pains, they disappear. It's not an ongoing come back and see me, once a month for the next 20 years. No, it's a one-on-one. So very seldom do I need two sessions, but with her I did need two because 32 items they take a bit of time, but a lot of them overlapped. So
Mhm,
basically, a lot of these emotions that we're being controlled with and have no idea where they come from is past lives.
mhm,
Because 99% of our problems are past lives because your body cell memory brings in the ache, pain, or the
mhm,
emotion because you haven't finished the lesson. It doesn't know doesn't really try to be mean to you. It just knows that you haven't finished that lesson. So here's the situation you had when you left that life.
Yeah.
If, for example, being hung. That's
Yeah.
why about 40% of the people have what I give it a new title. I call it turtleneck syndrome. Is that you can't wear turtlenecks or something close to your neck or people touch your neck is because you're hung, strangled, or
Yeah.
beheaded.
So have you had situations where somebody's come in with this list of 32 things, but it's not that they need 32 past life regressions with you?
No.
Are there things that can overlap, and we can have multiples of things that we assume are separate, but actually could be combined or connected with one particular past life?
Yeah. Actually, one lady in New Brunswick, she's got my record. She, in one past life in the session, because in the session I can take you to 2 to 7 different past lives. It's not a once a week. She took care of 7 issues.
Wow.
7 issues. My fingers can't
you
see
can
them
use mine if you want.
in the camera. Yeah. 7 issues in one past life. 2 of them she had forgot to mention because she didn't like heights and stuff around her neck because they'd also put a rope around her neck and pushed her off the cliff. So sometimes a lot of people, they do come in and they don't list everything they should because they don't realize, they think they're stuck with it.
So
or not worthy. Yes.
So things can come up in a past life and then they say afterwards, oh my gosh. I know there was one that we were going through some years ago, and out of that came why I didn't like people hanging on the back of me or clinging to me when I was in the water. And I never really thought of it as a fear. Just I knew I was aware of it, and that came out. I can remember saying to you when I came back from this past life, oh my gosh, now I understand why I don't like anybody hanging on to me in the water, even though I'm standing up and I'm, safe and those kind of things. It was just from that past life.
Because
that
drowned you in that life.
Yeah, in that particular life, sadly, I was drowned, but it was one of those things that it couldn't have been any different. But that's another story. But yeah, it's because sometimes we finish a past life regression. It's like, oh, now I understand why I don't like this, or this is a concern, and it wasn't necessarily the basis of why you had the past life regression, but it came up and revealed itself, which is, I love that. So is there anything else you want to share before we sort of round up and pull everything together here, Chris? I know one thing, we have at the bottom of the feed is how can people get in touch with you, and I put your website in there. You also have some Facebook page and a Facebook group, is that correct?
Yes, it's called Past Life Regression and Progression, Chris Lee Questions and Answers.
Okay, so people can sort of post questions in there and become part of that group.
And I put in articles and stuff, but I do ask you, what is your belief on this?
Yeah, which is great, because it's not that you're trying to say to somebody, no, you can't join the group because you don't believe in it, but it's pointless. I always say to people that say to me, do you want to join this group? I'm like, no, I'm not into Tupperware. Truly, I am not. But thank you for sharing it. So it's not going to be something that resonates with me. So I don't just want to join that group just for the sake of joining the group. So yes, I understand that.
Tupperware and they join. You don't want that either. No.
Yeah. So how do people get hold of you? Because your books, do you have any specials, any deals? Or sorry, I'm trying to get them all here so that they're all in the shot. I'll come back a bit here. So yeah, you have them too. So
I have a couple on hand. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me explain. What the books are is not how-to books. Let me just explain that first of all. My first one, Life in the Past Lane, which is a takeoff of Life in the Fast Lane.
Yeah.
And what it is tells you a bit about what I do, but not how to do it, because I cannot do this to myself. So how can I tell you how to do it to yourself? Because I have to ask myself questions. And if I'm asking questions, I'm thinking. If I'm thinking, I'm not relaxed. Harder to get to the subconscious, thinking too much. So what happened though is that some of the stores do carry my books across Canada, but it's sometimes it's kind of hard for you to go to another city to go get
Yeah,
one. So
and
how about
especially
I
at the
give
moment
you?
with things not always being open or available. So people can
Yes,
buy these directly
yes,
from you. So do you have
yeah,
any, if you
special.
buy one or two or
Yepper.
anything like that, that
Okay.
you're offering at the moment for anybody that's listening today,
Yes,
uh,
I do.
they
I
can
mean,
contact you. And by the
well,
way, Chris's website is actually in the feed here, so you can contact him through that
mhm,
if you have you want to order his books or anything like that.
mhm.
So is there a special
Well,
code?
I have a deal for you today, Debbie. If they mention your name,
Oh,
that
right.
they saw me on your show, your interview, our conversation. Normally, the books sell for about in the stores for about $15 each. Now, I got a deal. Let's see, I have 4 on hand. I've got more to write, but I want to get have everybody get rolling and get these out first. One only book. If you buy one, it's $10.
Mm-hmm.
If you buy 2 books,
Right.
it'll be $15.
That's
So
good.
that therefore there's 7.50 each.
Yeah.
If you buy 3 books, it'll be $20.
Right.
So that's less than 7. And if you buy all 4, it'll be $25. So that is a saving from generally if they're like 15, that's 60. So it's a big saving. Now, a
Yeah.
little extra bonus, if you get all 4, I include my CD. I just have one CD now. In the olden days, we used to have tons of CDs, but who listens to CDs
I
anymore?
know. So it's a
But
downloadable link, is what you're saying.
yeah, they can get the physical copy, or I can send you the link. And it's called Relaxation Plus, not just relaxation, but relaxation. Your
Plus.
turn. Plus, yes. See, she was listening. It's a bit of self hypnosis. It also helps you sleep better at night because a lot of people have a problem with going to sleep at night. Most of the time, it's too much what if, what if, what if, what if, what if. And you can handle the what if better in the morning if you get a better night's sleep and you're more relaxed.
Exactly.
But now the 4 books, 25. Now I do need to know when you do order them, just give me your address, shipping
Yeah.
address, because the
So
postage is
when
extra.
you email Chris, mention my name, Debbie,
Yep.
or on the show or something like that.
Mhm.
And please put your address in and which books you want so Chris can know how much the shipping is, because yes, that is on top, sadly.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
assume.
but
Yes.
I don't have a white beard and a red
I
outfit. So.
know, I know. I have that with my decks, So
Mhm.
also you had mentioned something about graduates and training and things
Yes.
like that. So you offer that
Save the
as well.
best for last. Yes. What had happened is for the last 7 years, out of the 25, last 7 years, I have been training people. Now, I used a different method. It's like live classrooms.
Mm,
People would fly in. I would pick 1 or 2 cities at a time, not every town or city. That would be ridiculous. So I've done Windsor actually a couple times, Moncton, Calgary, Edmonton, even once in Mexico.
right.
So what happened is the students would come in and get training and teach you. In fact, I would supply volunteers for them to work on,
Hmm.
because initially I'd have them working each other. Well, after doing 3 sessions with the same person, you kind of know what they're going to say, okay,
Right.
for the question. So I brought in lots, and it was easy for me to find them because so many people like to get rid of their aches,
So
pains, fears,
do
and
you have,
phobias.
you're offering it online at the moment?
Yes. What I have done is about a year ago, I decided that or noticed that there are a lot of people that would love to do it, but they can't afford to take the time off or
Mm,
airfare or hotels to
yeah.
come in to do that. So I do now do this on one-on-one. It is online one-on-one training. I
So
still
it's
get people
live
say,
with you, that
yeah,
kind of thing. So
yeah.
good.
And I still get people that say, how big is your class? And I say, what is one-on-one confusing for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. So you
Okay.
get individual personalized training.
Yes, it's even better than when I have a group.
Better than if you're
So,
doing it in a
yeah.
classroom. So being a
And you
class,
do this in your spare time, and there's no traveling. Yes.
I love it.
So that's available. Also now with that thingy that's been hanging around was making it difficult. I got a couple of my students online had to sort of slow down because they couldn't get volunteers to come in for
Mhm.
practicing on in their place where they live, because you do have to do some
Right.
practicum And then later on, after you feel comfortable, then I watch you do another one. So, and then if you're doing great, because you do get a script, because, 25 years of doing this, I've learned what to say. And it's a good way, rather than showing you once and then hope you
So
remember.
again, if somebody is interested in finding out
Mhm.
the costs, the parameters, and what's involved in this, to email you. Now, Tina B has just said, would love the meditation CD. So do you sell that as a separate CD that somebody can purchase? Because that's a good point. Thank you, Tina, for bringing that up.
It's $10 each.
It's $10. So again, email him and say you want the CD as a downloadable. Well, thank you, Chris, for everything. So I just want to let it.
One more thing.
Sorry.
One more thing.
Sorry.
I'm doing this online, but I have, at the end of October, I'm going to be doing a live classroom in Windsor.
In Ontario, let's just.
Windsor, Ontario, yes. Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting this is seen all over the world.
Windsor, Ontario. As well.
Yeah. The reason I live nearby, so that's what helps. And because I don't have to fly myself and pay hotel rooms, it's a bit more reasonable. But this is a career training. This isn't like something to do on it. It's not like a one weekend you become a hypnotherapist, which I've heard.
People again can contact you to find out. So again, if you're interested in Chris's training, state whether it's the online and or the live training to get the information, and he can share that with you. Okay. The CD, as you said, is $10. So Tina's just said thanks. So I'm sure she'll be in contact with you. And again, Chris has given you the offers on the books. So that way you can contact him. So thank you for that. So I want to let everybody know that tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on this platform, my YouTube platform, myself, Ida Keatley, and Kim Butler will be doing short, free readings for an hour or maybe 2. So turn up early. I will post everything you need to do, i.e. the rules of engagement, to make sure that you understand how this works. So I have Pilar Shumalath coming on September the 7th to join me again with our conversation. It's going to be high vibrational healing, merging science and spirituality. I got other guests upcoming. I haven't got those into my system yet, so bear with me. But here's the thing. I post almost every day, if not every day, something on YouTube, either a pick a card, an affirmation, my weekly reading, some kind of sharing. So in an effort that you don't have to go, is she going to be on today or what she's sharing? If you subscribe to me, it's going to be there and you're going to get it in. The only thing that you don't get notifications on is when I'm doing a live. I'm not quite sure why YouTube haven't got that into their system, but I'm hopeful that they're going to be working on it. So thank you, Chris, for everything you shared today. For everyone watching. Again,
always a pleasure being on your show.
Oh, thank you, Chris. And join us next week at noon Eastern on Monday. I'm Debbie A. Anderson. Vibrational Energy is my YouTube channel where I raise the vibration and share the positive. So bye, everybody. Have a beautiful week, a vibrational week, embracing your true vibrational essence. Bye-bye.